Since the beginning of time, music has always been the bridge between barriers, the art form that brings together different individuals through melodious notes, chords, and lyrics. In this day and age, the concept of music has grown far and wide as human ingenuity and creativity has found new ways to create music, thus ever-expanding sounds and genres. And today, here in Malaysia, there is basically two separate scenes in which musicians and artists promote themselves and promote their music. The mainstream music scene, which encompasses media like radio, television, and everything for the wide audience, or the underground music scene in which musicians mostly play music in a lesser known medium, usually at local gigs and venues, or simply promote their music through social media. However, due to their unconventional and unfiltered musical creativity, some see underground bands and musicians as a negative element in the music industry, thus making it hard for bands to achieve success. Local underground band Sekumpulan Orang Gila, better known as SOG, of whom recently played in UiTM Shah Alam, explains further on the struggles to achieve success.
Dalam mainstream industri dekat dalam arus perdana ni, satu benda yang kelakar bila kita nak dealing dengan masyarakat yang first time dengar muzik macam kita orang. And benda tu jadi kelakar sebab tengok dia orang punya komen-komen macam yang mula-mula memang kita nak balas balik kan. Ya, dulu jiwa remaja kan, semua benda nak rebel semua kan. So tapi dah lama benda kita just macam dah lali macam buat chill je.
Music from the underground scene is not filtered for the mass audience, thus bands and musicians are given the freedom to be much more creative, and this is sometimes seen as a negative issue, especially when certain people are worried due to the perceived violence from underground shows and gigs during the act of moshing. However, Nita Manisha is a singer from the band I Am Nita, of which is a well-known band in Malaysia's music industry. She explains on her opinions on the underground music scene.
How it affects the industry is because they're so big now, so they have like followers and all that. So most of their followers are indie music listeners or like underground music listeners. Just when it comes to mainstream, they only pick bands who are from the indie. So like if once you're indie, you're always indie. So I think that's how like it's like the fans are so loyal. And how, if you're from indie or not from indie, there's like a big difference. If Hujan wasn't indie and it just went on mainstream, I think the fans wouldn't be as hardcore as now.
Fendi Nasser used to be a member of an underground band known as Sleeping Sorrows, playing heavy metal music. Now he's the head of an NGO fighting to help out the homeless people in Malaysia, which is basically contradictory to the popular notion that underground bands are only negative in nature.
As most people know, the mainstream community in Malaysia, they tend to have a very negative perception towards underground bands and underground music. So how do you hope an event like this, where you're working together with underground bands, how do you hope it affects the scene?
Okay, maybe the performing bands can invite their families, their friends to join along the gig, right? So they can see and we can expose them what it feels like to be in a gig. Because these are all basically they all are misinformed by the media, by the mainstream media. So we have to change their perception by bringing them to the gig.
With this, no matter how mainstream or how uniquely underground a person's favorite band is, music is still music, the art form that brings together communities and societies. Thus, we as listeners should always keep our minds open, no matter how negative a certain genre may seem, because another man's trash may just be your treasure.
And hopefully impacting the music scene in Malaysia. This is me, Hezzra Ezzickry, reporting for MCTV.